Hello and welcome to episode 17 of A Dose of SinSanity. I am GR3, joined by Jamokin, and we have a special guest of Welshie this week. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Missed you last week.
The return, dude.
Oh man, hey, we're going to talk all about how, where you were last week and the experience that you had, and get to a little bit of more Dota related stuff versus 82L that we've kind of been on in the last couple weeks. But first, because we have to have something in the 82L community, right? I want to give a huge shout out to Mary Todd Lincoln and their Lords of the Underwater Abyss Dota 2 challenge. A load of fun. Welsh, you've been out for a week. Do you know anything about this event?
Yeah, I know jack about it. I've been following other events.
Oh man. So Mary Todd Lincoln came out and is doing a week-long event, and it's more of like a challenge. So the way that it works is you're gonna have one solo offlaner, which I'm sure you being an offlaner, you're excited to hear about.
All about it, dude.
Yes. Two mid laners. So we are dual laning the mid lane.
I love it.
And you have to do this until 10 minutes.
So so landing stage.
One of the towers fall. But you're still allowed to gank and stuff like that. Like you have time limits of how long you can be out of the lane. But it's a fun bit of exciting little event. So my team did it. I paired up with B-Jack, Welshie, Excalibur Kudo, one of his old teammates, Luke, and then myself. I think I said Winter, and we attempted to play the event, and we were really pumped. I was like, man, I'm gonna go Marcy mid, and I get it. I'm like, fuck, it's banned, and we had this whole thing planned, like how I was gonna Marcy, and we were just gonna dumpster whoever the fuck showed their face in the mid lane. And then I hear Excalibur go, well, that's because I banned it. I was like, you son of a bitch. So I ended up playing Earth Spirit with a Zeus. And we're like, okay, this is going to be sick. It's going to be a lot of fun. We should have really high kill potential on whoever the fuck is in the lane. And then they pick DK. Like, are you kidding me? So we ended up laning all that, but it was really fun because they actually brought both supports into the mid lane because their DK could not get shit. But it was absolute chaos. The other things that go ahead.
If they pick DK, I just roll up there with Tiny and Tree and just deny every creep. I'm not taking your tower, but you ain't getting no farm.
There is also rules where you can't bring others mid for a specific time. I believe it's post 5 minutes you can start bringing other heroes. There's a number of rules, things like make sure you send the match ID to Kino and make sure there's no unpausing or BM communication, things like that. So basically being respectful during the games to the other people. They only judge based on the first 15 minutes, and they'll judge the offlaner and they'll judge the two mids. And then it says the players, you may leave lane to rotate for 30 seconds to hit creeps or runes or gank for 60, and then you have to be back. Basically, they want to make sure it is a dual lane. It isn't something where it's not a roamer. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and they have a bunch of other events going on too. They have a hero creation competition. I also entered in that. That's really cool. You create a hero concept. Don't have to figure out numbers or anything like that, but you give them you give them abilities, things like that. It's fun to kind of see that creative aspect and what people come up with.
Now that you did tell me about, that sounds real fun.
And I'm waiting for yours because I got Naya, and Naya's shared with me a bit of his concept, not necessarily everything about it, but his idea, which I'm not going to share on here, but his is really cool. Mine was kind of like a meme thing. Well, you were saying?
Oh, I'm here. So my thing is the only question I have to ask. I do want to go back to the other event. So how are they judging this? Is it like who performs the best in that dual lane situation,
Oh,
or is
that
it
is
like
a
who's the
good.
most entertaining? Like what's the criteria for victory
So
here?
it's a few things, right? Like, so there are entertainment aspects. So I believe they're going off of a point system, and the first ones to complete the challenge, I believe, get a specific amount of points. You get a point. You get points for entertainment value, all chatting. Um, Obviously, no BM and things like that, but you can all chat and which is the most entertaining to watch, different things that you do in the lane to be entertaining, and all that stuff. And it's going to be judged on the first 15 minutes. You have to win the game in order for it to be valid, but it's something where they're going to have different judges. A few, I don't think they're named yet. Um, Judges will watch this. They'll go on stream. I believe Zen is the one that's going to be heading the stream uh, and kind of talking about the different events as a whole. But then they'll be talking. They'll be judging the replays, watching replays. What's the most exciting? Which one was like the best one? Who did the greatest? Like all that stuff. And you get a whole point system based off of it.
I mean, I love it as a system. That sounds like such a fun time.
Oh, MTL
This is
is
such a unique event.
Yes.
They always run the craziest shit.
And
Yeah, but something to shake up how you play a normal game, I think, is like the best way to do it, right? It's not like who did best. It's like, hey, do this really weird scenario and try to make it work. And it's not something as generic as like everybody's got to be the same color because that's just kind of silly. It's like, hey, here's your guidelines. Come up with a real strategy based on it. And I think I love seeing people struggle to make something sensical out of something that like is opposing to them. It's the best place you see the best ideas come out of, I think.
well, I was really shocked on how kind of effective it was. Now, it's not something I would bring into normal game. Obviously, I feel like there's different ways to run, like more efficient. But it was cool to see basically by doing this, they had to bring supports to the lane. And they're bringing both because we're so damn aggressive. And what would have been a really hard Witch Doctor Drow lane into our Mars turned into Mars Drow, which is very Mars favored on one ability, right? And then the offlaner was solo against our Dazzle and Alchemist, and the Dazzle could just buck off the Centaur, so the Alchemist was free farming. So it was actually like, yeah, we kind of sacked our mid lane a bit. Like the mid laner was farming. The levels were a little bit off, but our side lane levels were phenomenal. And the farm from our side lanes were pretty decent. So it was interesting how that really played out. I anticipated it would probably end up at 2v2, but with the aggression, it being like a 1-3-1 for the enemy team was actually pretty surprising to me.
Oh, for sure. So, one question about the concept idea. So, I
Yes.
thought you had to have concept art when you
No.
submitted this idea. Do you not?
It does. It is not required. One of the things they took. I mean, I'm sure that you can do concept art as well. I don't know if that's going to be bonus points. You would have to speak to Kino and all that stuff. Like I sent a picture with mine, but it was like a snip because it was kind of like a meme off of a minor piece in Dota kind of thing. So I imagine you could. It's not required. When I was talking to Kino, what they want is they don't want like to worry about, oh, A, is it balanced, and B, are only the artistic people able to compete in this. They want everybody to be able to compete.
And I'm with that, but I want to see the 5-year-olds' drawings in paint of their hero concepts so bad. That's going to be the highlight of the stream for me.
Oh my gosh, that would be phenomenal. I didn't even think about that.
Like this highly detailed, incredible idea for a hero, and then it's a stick figure with a wand. And I want to see that.
So Kino, if you're listening,
You have to draw your
put some
items?
shit. Oh my lord.
You have to draw your items on your hero.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Smiley face.
There's one other real big piece to this whole thing too. Welshie, knowing you would actually enjoy this one as well. This feels like a very Welshie type event, minus the half to off lane solo kind of deal. They're doing a chess event as well. So they're redesigning basically a chess mini game, I guess you would call it, or a variation would be the best term. Kiki is working with Kino in order to develop this, and you'll have to play games within this variation. So it's should be a good time, especially for some real big chess guys. I know, Welshie, you're a pretty good chess player. And then some of the other guys that I see constantly in the chess channel and the 82L Discord. You say, like you're out of practice.
I'm more interested in what Kiki's gonna come up with, because I feel like this is gonna be some 4D chess kind of crap that I'm just gonna struggle to follow.
Are you saying you don't have the mind for it?
I'm saying that Kiki's a crazy person.
I mean, whoa.
Games.
He's just an engineer, so it's kind of like...
He is just an engineer. He doesn't actually do anything. He
Exactly.
draws stick figures and says, build it.
Exactly. But I'm not a psychopath like Kiki, so Kiki could come up with something where where it's like, oh, this piece just made it to the end of the board. Now it gets to fly. What does that mean on a chessboard, dog?
It means it flies.
Piece starts floating in midair. What does it do? Nothing. It's just in the air now. Oh, okay.
What does it do, Yugi?
It is what it do, Yugi.
Indeed.
So
I'm excited to see that though. So I'm obviously down for it, and I'm going to participate in that event because I love games like that. I love any game of strategy. But I feel like I feel Kiki cannot be allowed to participate in his own madness. So if Kiki's playing his own game,
so anyone who's judging is not able to compete in any of the events. And obviously, Kiki creating the thing, he will be ineligible to play.
then I'm fine. I will participate absolutely.
What, are you scared of him?
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I think if you let me come up with my own game called Spoople, I'll always win Spoople. Because the first rule of Spoople is Welshie's always wins.
Yeah, but what if I change my name to Welshie?
Oh, damn.
Shit.
Yeah,
Loopholes.
shit, you didn't. Yeah, you didn't account for that, did you?
Well, once again, I can't reiterate enough. This is a really fun event that MTL is putting on. So make sure you guys check it out and participate. It is an absolute blast. I can tell you, like, from my own stance of competing in 2 of the 3 already, they've all been so much fun. So make sure you give that a check out. Go to the MTL YouTube channel. I believe is MTL Dota on YouTube, and the rules are in the description. Check it out. Once again, it is an absolute blast. But let's get into it. Welshie, where are the...
I think that's it for the day.
Yeah,
that's
that's
a good
it.
podcast.
Yeah, you know what? That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, call it here.
Or we could just skip our next segment.
That's...
We'll just give it
Get
to
the
him.
major.
We'll just give it to him. So Welshie, where the fuck were you last week?
Bro, I was in Dallas, Texas, and I was in Arlington, Texas, and I was at the major, and it was such a fucking blast, man.
Word on the street.
I will drop an
fight the
F-bomb on
entire
that.
arena.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, dude. Well, I'll start with, I guess, the best thing in the whole thing from my experience was that if anybody saw me, I was the shiny-headed individual being interviewed by Slacks.
Hey,
I'm Benjamin, who threatened to fight the entire arena, and brother, it came out of nowhere. So to tell the story really quickly, me and douche muscle Chad, the one who did the interview after me, he was like, I lift weights and I play Dota. That's all there is to life. Me and him showed up to the event at 8 o'clock, got our seats front row, and literally one of us was at our chairs guarding them for the entirety of the 10-hour event. And oh my God, first off, it's draining, but that being said, it's some of the most fun. The community was there, and there's something just amazing about in person, face to face, sitting next to people, or in a big group, talking about Dota, talking about the draft, having a beer with Slacks, talking with Jenkins, telling him he's fucked up my pubs permanently, and him laughing in my face. All of it was just amazing. The personalities were amazing, the production was amazing, and no matter what everybody was talking about on Reddit about complaining about it, that arena was hype, and the production was great. It was such fun.
The one thing that I asked anybody who actually went, if you get to speak to Jenkins, tell him fuck you for screwing up so many of my pups.
which is exactly what I told him, and he laughed at everyone.
That's funny.
I do want to shout out him real quick. Not like he's gonna watch this stream, but the man got like honestly brushed by like 50 fans. At like a couple of points that I saw him, and I thought they were rude. I was like, the dude just came off stage. Like, you're just gonna immediately hound him. Like, this isn't really an area you're supposed to hound him at. And the dude didn't say anything. He stood there. He talked with everyone. He signed everything. He took the extra like 45 minutes to meet all of them, and I thought that was just so like really baller of him. Like, not to
So
like
he's
rush
a
off.
gentleman.
Yeah, truly.
That's stuff that like actually gives, I feel like, the biggest impressions. I know when I was a kid, I used to, before LA stole my St. Louis Rams, I would always go to the Rams training camp. And the players that would actually, instead of like walking by for the autographs, I would actually sit there, we'll actually speak, interact, talk, and spend time, like after they just finished a 3-hour practice and just tired as all hell, they would sit there and out there for like an hour, just signing autographs, talking, and all that stuff. Like that stuff sticks with you, and that's the stuff like the fans, I feel like, appreciate the most. So when you actually have somebody who understands, like, it's not comfortable, I would imagine, for Jenkins to do that. You're just being rushed. You just want time to yourself. You're probably exhausted because you're saying just by watching how draining it was for you, he had to be on the panel for that entire time, and he casted some too, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he casted
Yeah,
games. He was on panels.
Yeah, so it was the whole 9 for him, and he's probably exhausted. I mean, even doing the podcast sometimes when we have our longer ones, like it's a little exhausting after. And like when we do a 3-game series of casting, it's tiring then. And this is like 10, 12 hours of just shit that we see, not to mention all the behind the scenes. Like, guy's drained. And he's getting rushed and he spends that time. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, they're there the earliest and they're there the latest, right? And it's just, and exactly like you just said, they have to be on that entire time. As much crap as we give to like Slacks, like in full honesty, he has to have this the Slacks energy the whole time, which I did watch him maintain like the entirety of the day that I was there. Like, and he was running around the arena, like all in the pit, talking to people, doing interviews, doing dumb, stupid,
Whoa.
games and stuff. Oh, I mean, it's Slacks, right? He had 2 guys scream for for their teams and just carried around a piece of chicken, I think. And over one got to bite the piece of chicken. And I'm like, there's nobody besides Slacks that could make people this hype about biting chicken. But or whatever. But I think honestly, I was like, he had all this energy, and like despite all that, like he still took the time to like talk to all of the fans that came to talk to him, and like he hugged everybody. Like, I want to point this out. I didn't hug Slacks. Slacks hugged me, and that made my fucking day, man. I'm sorry. I'm so absolutely hyped about it. It was the best day of Dota I've ever had, and it was such fun.
More
Watching
so
the
than
Dota,
Zyori?
honestly, wasn't even the highlight. What's up?
More so than your Zyori experience?
Even more than Zyori now.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, we have a new one.
Oh boy, we're not hearing the end of it.
I'm also I got to point this out, even though it was quick, dude. I got to hug Collapse, which just made my fucking day.
Did he squeeze
You
your
like
cheeks?
being really touchy with individuals, huh?
I am. I'm a hugger. What can I say? I hugged Dops. I hugged Rusty Shackelford was there, by the way, Jammo.
Yeah.
Yes, he was, baby. He was there with Puka, baby.
Yeah, Rusty ran up to me, bro. I was like, who is this individual? He was like, well, how you son of a bitch. And I was like, who are you? He's like, it's Rusty. And I was like, Rusty? I took the glasses off this man's shirt and then give him the biggest bear hug. I was like, Rusty.
That was one of the coolest things sitting back, is just seeing the major meetup channel just kind of go nuts through the whole event. There was a lot of people there, and I thought it was really cool that everyone was trying to meet up. Everyone was trying to have like drinks. Did you have drinks with everyone?
Unfortunately, no. I didn't end up meeting up with everybody from the meetup channel. I didn't even know it was a thing. I just caught Dops and Rusty, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I got added after the event by Dops saying like I'm a goat, which thank you, Dops. But I don't know. I just didn't realize it. And I think half of Golf Monday was there.
A lot of golf was there. Period. Not just Golf Monday. A lot of golf. One of the cool things I saw that Dops did was, so she had a deck of cards, one for the players and the like casters and all that stuff, like all the talent. and then she had one for all the AD2L individuals. And she met up with so many people from AD2L getting their signatures. I believe you had one, correct?
Yeah, man, it was an honor,
Yeah,
honestly.
it was really cool because she posted all of this stuff, and I thought that was such an awesome idea. I don't know if signing deck of cards is like a thing people do. I've never seen it. Maybe I just hide under a rock, probably.
Okay, brother.
But I thought that was a really cool idea and something really unique. And it was fun to kind of just look at all the signatures that she got, AD2L wise, and all the talent. So it looked like such a great time. Like I'm actually really, really jealous.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I will say about that about Dallas, I want to talk about real quick, because it surprised me, is that like first off, Dallas has its own actual esports stadium, like dedicated, which I thought was nuts. But it has right next to it is like it's like right next to their giant football arena, their giant baseball arena, and then like some other sports complex. Like they're all in like within a quarter mile of each other, and it's actually insane.
They told me
Dallas
they
is a
planned this
crazy
out?
city. I think they did.
Wow.
It's a crazy city, honestly. It's great food, great people. Honestly, it was just such a fun time, and I got to meet Chen Guy, the guy like the dude who was in the Chen hat that entire time, who was like the star of the stream. It felt like that dude is so cool, and every time that Chen was picked, man, you saw this man lose his shit. It was so cool.
That's a lot of losing your shit, and we'll talk about that here like in a little while.
Oh yeah, we'll get there.
But that was a lot of fucking chin. That dude was like, this is the greatest major of his entire life.
It was I gotta say though, like really just the mind-boggling experience of like we're not watching it on Discord, you know, with a couple of friends. Like I sat next to a bunch of people. We all traded like what is it, Steam names and things like that. And we like just to have the in-person conversation with like 5 people that you're sitting in a line with, of just like, oh, dude, they picked, you know, they banned this again, man, this, you know, or like, who do you think they're gonna pick? Oh, like, oh, they need this for this draft right now, man. I'm telling you, they need this. It's such a different experience, and you just like
that's one of the uniqueness like about something like this, right? So when you go to like, I mean, just literally anywhere, like you go to the bar, okay, and there couldn't be any like sports on, anything like that. It could be fucking midnight, something like that, and you're talking like there's a lot of talk about sports.
Yeah.
Not anyone talking about Dota, and even people who talk about esports, like it's very rare you'll hear anyone even mention Dota. But then you go to a place like this in a game that we all love so much, and that's it. That's the fucking topic. And it's so many people talking about like the drafts, the play, the meta, like, and it's just all Dota for so long, and it's fun because you don't get to experience that, right?
I mean, you never do, right? Like almost never. And I'm really honestly worried. Like I will say this again, like from the experience that I had, man, if there's ever another major or Dota event in NA, which unfortunately just isn't something that I think is going to happen anytime soon, given the kind of the way things have gone, I will be there in a moment's notice. I'll buy the tickets the moment they come on sale, because it was such a fun event. It just makes me sad to think that if I want to experience it again anytime in the near future, I'd have to go international.
So next time they're in NA, we all get together and do a live podcast.
100%. 100%.
On the main stage?
On the main stage.
Let's do it.
With
we will invade
and
the main
Slacks.
stage.
Yes.
Yes.
We can loaf Jenkins.
I can tell that you just moved because when you yelled, there was such a big echo in the room.
My bad, dog. My bad. But
for those of you who don't know, while she's in the middle of moving, if he sounds a little different, that's the reason.
Yeah, if my mic sounds like crap, that's my bad, guys.
New estate.
But that little echo was like, I could almost hear a little bit of you die inside, because you know as soon as we're done with this, you got to go and move some more.
That's exactly what happens after this, dog. We'll live. What was Oh damn! Oh, yeah. This is no. Sorry, this is something that I just thought of that I kind of do want to like say here. So, and this is like somewhat related. So, speaking of like international Dota events, I find this interesting. That have you guys seen that the TI tickets, like they went on sale? Like I think they were. Let me just say this: they went on sale like last week, and they were already out of sale within, I think it was like 3 hours. All of the tickets for TI.
That almost
you
surprises
surprised?
me. It was that long.
Yeah, honestly, is the biggest surprise to me
Do you
that it took
think?
3 hours.
Yeah, I don't mean to. I'm going off schedule, by the way, everybody. But do you think that scalping is a thing in Dota? Because I'll say this: I did see
Yeah,
that in the Arlington Major.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It's always it's
The more niche an
any
event,
event. Any event. It doesn't matter if it's a concert or sports event.
the more niche the event, I feel like the worse it's going to be. Because like these events are rare, like you're saying, right? Like when is there going to be another NA major? So
Got a
like
point.
people are willing to pay much higher prices to go see this like kind of one-off event. And
Yeah,
it's not
and
like it's coming back, and it's not like, oh, you want to get tickets to
It
a
might be
football
2
game or
years.
whatever. It's not like you're trying to get tickets to like a football game or a hockey game, or like, oh, I'll just go next week, like whatever. It's years kind
I
of
mean,
thing.
yeah, you're right. It was really surprising to me that so the tickets for the major were like I think it was $60 the first day, $80 the second day, and then $80 for the final. I think is how that broke down. No, it was 40, 60, 80. 40 first day, 60 second day, and 80 for the last day. And what surprised me is that and then I went online and started looking because they went sold out. They not like instantly, but they did get sold out. And I went and looked online and it was like final day price $500. And I was like, wow, that is not even a little bit of scalping. That's a lot of scalping.
Oh,
And
they
I just
can't because
wonder
people
what the
will
tickets
buy
are going to
it.
be like for TI. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, just to point out something real quick, though. So, people may not realize this. Anybody who's looking for a ticket for TI might not know this. But TI this year, they are trying to fight scalpers.
Yeah.
And apparently, from what I understand, you have to show proof of purchase of the credit card the ticket was purchased with when you show up to the arena for TI. That is apparently a policy that they're introducing. So if you have scalped a ticket, if you're buying a scalp ticket, you may run into problems. So just be careful.
I
Interesting.
also wanted to add on is I'm assuming they learned from the Arlington major about the scalping, like kind of like, oh, this is kind of an issue, guys. Maybe we should like introduce some things, and it looks like they are doing that. So that's good to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
always
think that's why
good
it
to
took 3 hours as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense because if people are understanding this, then they're not going to be buying 100 tickets at once. That's cool.
Exactly.
It's always good to see when you have organizers looking at potential problems or even something that may not be super huge right away, but understanding how big it could be and then fixing it right away.
Yeah.
Really before it gets out of hand.
Yeah, and it's like, scalpers aren't buying these tickets because they think, because they're, because they might get sold. They're buying these tickets as much as they are because they know people are going to TI. They know TI is going to get sold out, so they'll buy the tickets because they know people are desperate enough to go. And it's particularly messy when the tickets go on sale so long after the event is announced and people are booking their hotels, before they have a ticket. Which, that's just, I kind of get the idea of, requesting time off, but I got to say, if you're booking your flights to an event before you have a ticket to the event, that's a little, I think, wrong priorities. And people were complaining about that on Reddit, and I'm like, maybe you shouldn't have booked your ticket before you knew you had a ticket for this event. You know what I mean? Book your ticket to get there, and hotel reservation.
Right. So let's talk about the results, right? So Team Spirit takes first place. PSG LGD second, Aster third. Are you surprised?
I'm personally pretty surprised because, I guess I am and I am not because statistic-wise, 100% finals I thought was going to go, based on just pure statistics, was going to go PSG LGD because they'd taken a whooping 3 times before that at a 2-0 rate against, with, what is it, with, come on, what's the name? Yeah, Spirit just forgave me for a second there. But in my gut, I was like, okay, they've just learned a ton, and they're about to whip out some shit and absolutely stomp them.
Yeah, I was actually shocked that PSG LGD lost. So,
Same.
To me, they're one of the most consistent teams in all of Dota. I don't know if you can argue that one.
Yeah.
For so long, they have been one of the top teams in Dota, and I didn't like the amount of Naga they played. I thought it was really underwhelming, and they're picking it a non-meta based hero into unfavorable matchups, and they made it work to the best of their ability, but it just still was just not great. And
I'd like to see the scrims.
yeah,
honestly, because
I
they
would
clearly
too.
saw something that didn't show come like showtime.
Yeah. With that being said, they still got second, but I was pretty shocked to see LGD lose. And personally, my favorite for TI is LGD. I just think that through the entire season, they've just been so consistent.
Yeah.
Spirit, they're just always that team that for some reason will figure out a way. And the other thing that I'm really shocked about is OG coming in fourth. And I don't know. Like, I'm not a massive OG fan. I rooted for them when they won their second because I thought it would be cool. But I've never really been a big OG fan in general. I just don't see how this team is doing as well as they are, because it feels like every single game's a battle, and they don't, like, when I look at your top teams, they're smashing people, right? Like,
well, yeah,
they
I mean,
OG never
LGD
does that.
LGD through this major, like going into the finals, they won all their series except they tied one.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they were
Like,
whooping, right?
They were cleaning house. So, and then you look at like someone like OG, and you know, they went 5-3-4, 5 wins, 3 ties, 4 L's. So like, they definitely have to scrap a lot more.
I feel like there is some, from what just the outside impression of the team I got, is that they're just having some issues of, like, I think personality conflict, and just, if I'm completely honest with you, it just feels like maturity. Amar the fucker, aka AMF, aka ATM, just seems to me to be like a very volatile player, speaking generally, and I think that there's people on OG's team that are very calm and collected, and then there are those that are very volatile. And I think that having both on a team can create conflict.
Yes.
I think what carries them a lot when it comes to these majors is they still have like Seb standing in.
Yeah.
And I think he just brings like all that experience, all that knowledge, and kind of keeps them.
He knows how to control the booth.
Yeah, he keeps them from going off the deep end.
He's also got
without
stage
that.
presence.
Oh, for sure. But like without that, I feel like they would not perform as well. Just anecdotally from my.
I just loved one of the favorite things I saw, which I saw when I was there, was what was it? It was, and it was a Reddit post I saw, was like, you saw like Seb walked on stage, like, not bravado but confident, and like was like, you know, saying hi to the audience and everything like that, and you saw the rest of OG come out kind of like just sticking in a group of 4, like kind of slowly, timidly getting up to stage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I just saw the post on Reddit. It was like Papa Seb and his 4 introvert children or something like that.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
Like literally going like, guys, come up here. Like they're cheering for us. Like say hello to your fans. And I'm just like Papa Seb's leading the way. Look at him. Man's been here before. Man knows how to stand in the spotlight.
Guy's a leader. And
he is. He really is.
What you need, and especially if you have that as a stand-in. Oh my God, the value. Being in A though. The biggest thing we got to talk about Sunday night is EG. They managed to make it to the main stage this time. Good for them.
Good job, EG. You're so proud of you guys. You're growing up so fast.
Pat on the top of the head. Good job, bud.
It's only been how many years?
Oh my gosh, their performance lately has just been so bad.
One other team I want to call out. Thunder Awaken, SMH.
Oh my!
You get rid of the foo. You get rid of the foo, and they all fall apart and suck.
Yeah. What does that say? What does that say?
Without foo, they are nothing.
Yes.
You hear that, Thunder Awaken?
Beast Coast though was looking pretty solid.
Bro, that was hype. That was so hype.
Yeah.
The Beast Coast series.
Yes.
I want to say right now, Rubik Dagon E-Blade is my new build. That's my new 3 that I'm picking up. That man, it was so fun to watch.
Okay. I'm going to stop you there. We don't lie to our viewers. You play Brewmaster, Axe, and Night Stalker.
And now it's Rubik with a Dagon. You better believe I'm the crazy mage with a taser, dude.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, dude, speaking of which, I cannot even tell you how hype I was to see that Brew was such a competed pick this
this meta. Like, I really think people are going to wake up to the fact that hero is just busted.
Was he? I know he's picked a few times, but was he picked all that much?
The games where he was in, he was absolutely like one of the cruxes of winning.
He was only picked 12 times with a 41% win rate.
Good enough.
Okay.
53rd.
How about
Pudge
Shen?
was more successful. Oh, okay.
Yeah, are we on the meta now?
We're on the meta. Let's talk about this Chen. Like, fuck everybody else. Let's talk about this Chen.
Honestly.
Like,
It's just too versatile. It does too much.
God.
It's so good.
On
It
the
is the
dire
Swiss
side,
Army knife. Yeah.
On the dire side was 23-3.
Jesus.
On the dire side, like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Was only banned 45 times. Like, what? Like, maybe
the hero does too much. He does too much. I say it again. He is the Swiss Army knife of this game, in which, like, now that all the neutral abilities, I mean, everybody knew this, he can just do whatever he needs to. He's the break. He's your silence. He's your mana burn. He's your 3 stuns in a row. Like, he's whatever you need him to be.
Just an absolute just monster, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I missed a lot of the groups. I assume most of Chen was picked on the main stage, considering it was contested 92 times, I would imagine. Because there's only 45 bands, right? Like, the most contested was Tiny with 161 games, or 167 games. Rather.
I gotta say, dude, that was the one thing about the major that I hated. It was like every single time you were just like, all right, it's Tiny, picked or banned this game. Let's see.
Well, it gets through because, like, you got to think, like, later on, it got to the point of, okay, Marcy, like, you're going to give Marcy through, you're going to give Razor through, you're going to give Chen, you're going to give Tiny, you're going to give Puck.
Winter Wyvern.
Obviously,
Dazzle.
like, Tiny and Puck were the ones that were released through the most, right? The most banned was actually Viper, I believe. Yeah, Viper, Timbersaw, and then Razor was the most banned.
I never thought I'd see the day where Viper was the most banned at an esports event. I really did not.
Well, the interesting thing with the Timbersaw was, well, I guess both of them, it's kind of a product of being banned so much, but both of them had 103 bans. Timbersaw was only picked 26 times and had a 42% win rate. So
is that with the Tiny, you think? Like, is that because people wanted to pick Tiny and so they know they need to ban Timber?
Maybe, I don't know.
This is something I thought was interesting as well. Looking at the major, it was fun to see which teams or which heroes teams thought they could deal with and like which ones they couldn't. Like, again, Timbersaw, Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker got picked 18 times, but was banned 86 times. Like, teams just felt like they could not deal with this hero, and it just had to be gone. And then same with the Timbersaw. Like, it was just cucking them over where they really wanted to, like, get these other heroes. We're like, you know, Tiny got picked 97 times. Yeah, he got banned 71 times, but he was still picked far more than he was banned.
Right.
As opposed to Bloodseeker, which is like a 4-1 ban.
The biggest thing that I look at here is Viper. Like, you look at the win rates with them. Viper was banned 103 and picked 31. So it was obviously one of those, like you're saying, teams just felt like they couldn't deal with it. But, like, the Timbersaw only had a 42% win rate with this. The Viper was a 61.29, which meant you couldn't fucking deal with this hero.
That's true. But I feel like teams may have also tried to, like, shoehorn the Timbersaw in because they had a chance to get it, even if it wasn't necessarily the best. Like, they just kind of, oh, if we don't get it now, we're not going to get it. And you just hope it kind of turns out to be an okay Timber game. But the enemy's, like, kind of drag into a different direction. Like, that Viper, he's just good against everybody right now.
Yeah. It's Viper, Razor.
Yeah.
And it has to be said that I feel like I like watching the Timbersaw games I watched. The losses I didn't feel were, like, on the Timbersaw's back for those L's, right? I feel like the Timbersaws in those games often did their jobs, but, like, they just couldn't end the game fast enough to where they needed to be. Or something along those lines, right?
I mean, even Faceless Void, it's 17 picks, 75 bans. Like,
Yeah,
It's a BKB meta, and you got somebody who just doesn't care if you have a BKB.
Yeah.
that
Like,
is true.
It makes a lot of
You
sense.
do look at it like some of the like biggest bands. Viper doesn't fucking care. Razor doesn't fucking
Razor
care.
doesn't care.
Puck at one point does not care. Batrider doesn't care. Bloodseeker doesn't care. Faceless Void doesn't care. Like most of the bands are the ones where literally don't give a fuck if you have a BKB.
Yeah.
And they're offlaners too, which like a lot of them, which I feel like
Yeah.
shows what kind of meta we're in. It is a very offlaner meta currently. It's
Absolutely.
a unique offlaner meta too, where it's a sense of you can run
Like a
these
tri-core.
range. Yeah, it's a tri-core meta because one is so shitty right now that like you can't depend on one player like or one your position one carrying you. Like you can't do that anymore. So you have
Oh,
to
that with the
have
Naga
like your
game.
mid and your three. Like you have to be able to carry from the three. It's just essentially a second mid laner, right?
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And, as the resident position 1 player, like, unless I'm on Bloodseeker Dawnbreaker, I ain't confident in my ability to carry the games.
This may not be showing in the stats, but I also felt like this meta was a lot of like anything that healed was the worst thing in the world. Now Chen does more than that, but it was like Dazzle was terrible to deal with. Like heal and save seem to be massive focuses. Nobody wanted to play against a Dazzle. Nobody wanted to play against a Winter Wyvern. Nobody wanted to play against like I think it was like an Oracle a couple of times.
Well, look
Like
look at
like
why.
GS
Look
laughing and
why
sustain,
though.
man.
Like it is a sustained meta. Your biggest heroes are Tiny, Timbersaw, Razor, Bristleback. Like all of these fucking heroes are so goddamn tanky. Like you can't just like if you have sustain with it, like the Dazzle, the Winter Wyverns, and shit like that, and the Chins. How the fuck do you kill anybody? You just run out of damage.
Yeah,
yeah.
even if you break it, like, it doesn't matter because
Yeah,
it's
and-
just getting fucking steroids.
Yeah, my God, even in some of the groups and in like a lot on the main stage, the Dazzle saves that I saw were absolutely ridiculous. Like Dazzles were there were games where I was like, if you don't kill Dazzle at the very start of the fight, you lose. And that's what they did. They found Dazzle to start a fight, and I was like, oh look, fight's over.
Yeah.
PSGS just laughing and sustain right now.
Yeah.
And sustain.
DK jug fucking things. But have you seen this kind of pile into your pubs or like boil over or even into 82 a little bit? We just had our Conqueror finals finish yesterday.
I will say my pubs felt pretty on brand with what we saw going into the major, like even before the start of it really. I was seeing a lot of like tiny pucks, a lot of razors, dawnbreakers. I was picking the bloodseeker. So I felt excluding the Chen, I felt that my pubs were pretty representative of what we ended up actually seeing in the major.
See, for me, my pubs have taken a hard turn. And you can tell the people who actually watch the finals because I'm seeing a lot of fucking troll and a lot of fucking Naga. And it's just pissing me off, man. Like I didn't think either of those heroes were good anyways. But
I will say, when we had the patch where they made Orchid really cheap, I was picking Troll Warlord and I was running Diffusal Orchid rushes, and it was the greatest thing. Somebody shows anywhere on the map, all of a sudden their Diffusal slowed, Orchid, and you just ult on them with Troll Warlord and they just die. It was the
Where
greatest
will
pick
you
off hero.
go? What will you do? There's
It was-
nothing.
It was so good.
By the time the
Oh, I love
silences ran out, if you did live that long, your mana's gone. What are you gonna do, dog?
Your mana's gone, you're rooted.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You're just
I've seen already, like just from stats on I think Dota Buff, that Bristleback is way up there. I feel like Bristleback is the thing people were kind of a little unaware of, and now everybody's just gonna start spam picking.
yeah.
Oh, he's just so hard to deal with in a pub setting as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like it takes. I mean, it's hard to deal with it in a non-pub setting. And I want to say this really quickly. I don't know if anybody saw the draft of the very last game of PSG LGD versus Spirit, but I 100% believe Spirit stole that Bristleback pick out from under LGD. I really do believe they were planning on picking it, and then it got stolen right out from underneath them.
You saying because of the IO pick?
Because they picked IO, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, in my mind, I'm like, well, they could have also just easily picked Bristleback first, then IO. But I was like, no, it's awkward. No, they did not want that CK. There's no way they wanted CK there. They wanted the
No.
Bristleback.
Absolutely.
And I was like, and let me just also really quickly, and I want to go back to this real quick. They GG'd out 20-minute game 3. Game 3. Which
And-
I was super surprised by.
So that game stuck in my mind because this meta is really fighty, really fast paced. And then all of a sudden you have a game where I think there was 8 kills at 18 minutes or 6 kills at 18 minutes. Like, it was weird. It was like both teams like, okay, it's 1-1, fucking hit the brakes. And then 20 minutes out. Like, it was just crazy to me.
And I just finished telling like my friend who's sitting next to me, like, oh yeah, no, pros don't GG out until like the engine's falling, because like on main stage stuff like this, they're just gonna make every opportunity they can, and then GG at 20 minutes because they lost like 2 fights in a row. And I was like, okay, they're mentally, there's some mental suffering going on the side of LGD right now. There's something going on like on their side, like internally.
So, from my perspective, like playing 82-0, if we knew the game was over, like we'd mentally check out of the game, but you're already looking at the next game. Like you're using this time to just look at everything. And you're just kind of pushing buttons, defending high, like who gives a shit, right? Like at this point, it doesn't matter. But like, it's weird they gave up that time to like prep for the next game and talk about other things on top of like the breaks between game time. For me, it was a really bad decision. Plus,
Highly
it just
unusual,
feeds
at
into
least,
the
like,
and it
very
feeds into the
unusual.
enemy team's like
Their
motivation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they just GG'd on 20 minutes, like blah blah blah. Like there was so much left of this game, and they just were like, no, we lose, and so you're so pumped. So yeah, I thought that was a bad call.
So talk to us a bit, real quick, Walshy, about the Outsiders and Fnatic and what's going on with that.
So I'm not the most knowledgeable, but for anybody who hasn't been paying attention, basically there was some. It's kind of Reddit. It's kind of a lot of places drama, and it's not like just Reddit drama, but this is very fair kind of weird things that have occurred. So as y'all know, like the direct TI invites operate off of a point system, and the point system basically goes to like, hey, if you get above this margin, or if you're the top 12 teams, you get direct invites to TI, which if anybody who's followed this podcast before knows that we've talked about, every one of us has said, like, the only thing that matters in an esports setting, if we're completely honest, is TI. That like even first place finish at this major is like gonna compare to I think 12th or like 13th or even lower place at the TI, right? Something ridiculous like that. But what has occurred is basically that at the major, like in groups and in other things, the last locked in spots before this coming TI has been locked for DPC points deciding the direct invites. And Valve put out the formula. Valve put out their way of calculating the points and kind of how all like the breakdown would be. And everybody, based on their own calculations from following it and doing it, was able to figure out where their standings were. And everyone was accurate. Like before Valve even put out the official sheet, everyone was accurate to almost a T and had their points broken down. At this point, though, so before, like when the major finished, Valve officially put out the list, and there was an upset. The last spot, by the calculation of everybody, and this is by Liquipedia's calculation, this is by other pro teams' calculations, Team Outsiders, aka Virtus Pro. It's kind of, I don't know what drama's gone on with them, but it's kind of Virtus Pro's old lineup. Should have had the last TI spot. They should have had the last invite. And then Valve put out their official list, and Fnatic had somehow beat them by half a point. And let me say that before this, so so Outsiders had put out on their official Twitter account, on official their accounts, they were like, we're jumping for joy. We got our direct TI invite. We're in the runnings. We have it. It's locked in. We're good to go. Like we're in. Liquipedia even put out their official list of here's all the teams that are getting invited to TI because all the matches are done and this is the math behind it. We followed Valve's formula. Outsiders followed Valve's formula. And then Valve put out the list, and Fnatic beat them by half a point and got the last TI invite spot.
Fnatic quite literally posted that day. They were like, "Hey, we woke up this morning and found out we're invited to TI. Let's go." So like even Fnatic was caught off guard. And there's a lot of people now that are just basically asking Valve, and Valve has yet to make a statement from what I understand, but I've also been moving for like 5 days. Hasn't put out an official statement as to like, hey, here's how this math worked. Here's why Outsiders is not invited. And there's been a lot of speculation that I'm not going to really give a lot of credit to. But I'm going to say this at the very least. There's a lot of people who are Outsiders fans who are mad. Outsiders is confused, hasn't really made a statement. And Fnatic, like I just said, is just kind of dumbstruck going, okay, we're not going to complain. And so a lot of people are just really confused. And this just kind of goes back to Valve's constant of we do shit and we don't communicate how it worked. Even when you have very reasonable questions. And Wikipedia, the official Dota Esports Wikipedia page and all that, had to put out an official statement of like, hey, this is our math. We followed their formula. This is what we came out to. Until Valve tells us differently, we're leaving this up. But just so you know, like we're leaving this the way it is until we're explained otherwise of why we are wrong. Like everybody's gone and back and checked their math 12, 13, 15 times. So everyone's just confused.
How do you get half points? Is that from like stand-ins and roster shuffles and stuff like that?
I'd imagine so. So maybe there's some side rules that they just didn't explain to people well enough, or maybe there's some side judgments that they made that Valve went on with. But again, I have to look to understand the breakdown of the DPC Pro system more. But it's something that I think it's obviously something that apparently not even like professional teams understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I hope they still make it into TI. Obviously, going through the closed qualifiers is going to be really challenging.
Yeah.
Is it the opens or the closed that are coming up this week?
Opens are coming this week, I believe.
Or next week, rather.
Yeah. So opens are on the way, though.
Opens are, for those who don't know, so TI is going through a kind of a change. So the way that they're doing their quote-unquote open TI qualifiers, they delegated to different, like the ESL and shit like that, Epicenter and all those, and they're going to be in charge of essentially running those. And where in the past, correct me if I'm wrong, JMO, you probably know a bit about this, Valve ran them in the past. So now you have to go through, I believe it's the Malaysia or something like that, like qualifier. It's basically they're saying there's no more technically open TI qualifiers. You have to go through like ESL first, and then you can go in through that. And those, I believe, start next week, and we're waiting for the patch to drop here on that. But first, Battle Pass should be coming out, right? Like, we're TI season, officially.
TI season.
TI season. Battle Pass is coming. My wallet is going to be empty. And when is that going to be? I believe you kind of broke down a little bit, right, JMO, with different... and this is kind of like along with the patch as well. But talk to us a bit. When should we really expect the Battle Pass?
Well, since we're also expecting a gameplay patch, we're probably looking at a Tuesday, Thursday kind of deal. Although traditionally, I believe we've seen our Battle Pass is actually released on the Friday evenings for us Americans. So I'm going to hazard to guess we're going to probably see this patch on a Tuesday, Thursday, or the Saturday, probably this week, and probably no later than Tuesday of the 30th, because the patch has to be there by the 3rd of August when the qualifiers start.
Yeah, so what we should be looking at, I would almost venture to guess like a Thursday, with Battle Passes typically being released on Friday. They could almost do the entire thing on a Thursday. And
that's what
I would guess that they're going to probably do it this week as well. And the reason being is you kind of want to give teams an opportunity to explore before the the qualifiers, right?
Because
So-
the later
yeah.
you hold that patch, the less you can change, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah, and even more than that, like you got to give teams this chance because I mean, what does every pro team do before like TI, especially? They go to boot camp, right? You know, and they spend like this 2 or 3 week period straight playing Dota against in scrims and trying to figure out what their plan is. And if you're gonna let all these teams figure this stuff out, which I'm sure some of them are now, and then you're just going to give this massive patch, like you're really shooting them in the foot to figure out what they're doing before they get to the stage.
Yeah, I don't think it affects like the invite people at all.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're gonna
Oh,
get
yeah.
plenty of time. But
Fair.
for those who are trying to qualify, I believe the game. So they're dropping, or the games start on the 3rd, which is a Saturday. And if you drop it on the 1st or the 2nd, like holy shit, like.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's
This
either going to be like Thursday night or Tuesday night. Like,
Or
Hey man,
let me-
they get the
yeah,
L,
let me-
they get the AD2L experience of literally the day before your matches are. You got to figure out the patch real
hours
quick.
before. Remember Shard patch? It was
Yeah,
hours
brother.
before.
I'm
It was
just
hours
saying-
before matches.
there's a real possibility. So the next Thursday is the first week of AD2L, that the patch drops the day of the first games.
It's exciting. That's
Yes,
so exciting.
it
So
is
let me
going
actually
to be
make a
fucked.
correction. I did say Saturday, but that's looking at UTC. It would be Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. We're gonna see this patch. So I'm gonna hazard a guess. We're gonna see it on the Friday.
So what do you guys want to see in this personally, like in the battle pass? Like my big thing in the battle pass is like the events, the mini games.
Yeah, 100%.
I know, like I fucking hate when they just do like the year beast thing. I hated it. I thought it was terrible. Like I like the Labyrinth. I thought that was pretty cool. I like the Silt Breaker, those kind of things where you could tell that they actually spend time and they want to create like an actual game.
It has like a story to it of some kind, right?
And it's
Need the lore.
yeah, it's like right, but you could tell like it's a totally different game.
Yeah, 100%.
I love those. I just not a fan. Like when they did like the Year Beast and like when they remastered that and then brought it back, like it just felt so half-assed and half done. Like I don't really feel like it. Like that's what it felt like. Like it was just too much time. So
Well, it was cool when they did it for Dire Tide, right? Because Dire Tide used to be that you had to feed Roshan candies. Like the first Dire Tide, but then it was like Year Beast was just Dire Tide with like less steps, and it just felt really lazy.
yeah, Dire Tide was pretty unique as well because there's different map and everything and different like graphics and all those things. Like
Exactly. I mean, they put in a lot more work, and I particularly like the way they did these with like the story based kind of like working together trap rooms or challenges or things like that. Because
the trap
You have
rooms,
to-
those were so cool. That was my favorite one. What was that called?
Yep. Oh my God, Aghanim's Labyrinth.
No. The one where like you
specifically the
have like a
trap
team of 3, and then you have to move through each individual room, and it's like last one standing.
Oh, the Battle Royale one.
Yes, that was the best one.
That
if you
was
ask me.
so fun. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
That was a good one.
That was
Yeah.
that was a blast. I played the
So-
You'd
shit
run
out
into
of
other
that.
people, and then you'd have a huge fight. Oh, dude,
Yeah,
that was so
or
fun.
you were like,
here's
oh, fuck,
here's
oh,
what
fuck.
I want to see. Here's what I want to see, because we know this battle pass is gonna run into October, and through the Halloween event. So I want to see 2 events at the start. I want to see like a Labyrinth PVE event, and then I also want to see like a PvP event, kind of like the Battle Royale. I think that if we get 2 custom fun little game modes, I think that would be a lot of fun.
There's no way, right? Like
I want PvE.
I want to see 2. I want to see 2.
Valve's
And worst
gonna look
case
at,
we
like,
get 1.
we can do both
Worst
at
case
the
we
same
get
time.
1, and then we get a Halloween event.
Watch this shit be watch this fucking TI be Halloween themed.
That'd be so
Just
cool.
because they're lazy, but like you know what I mean? Like yeah, it would
Yeah.
be cool, but just because they're lazy.
Fair. Especially because in Singapore, there's totally Halloween. Nah. I would like to see a PvE event more than anything. I think that Dota is a PvP game in and of itself.
Not
a breath
really.
Of fresh air, a breath of fresh air of us working together without having to worry about without other people. I think would be very refreshing for me. I mean, again, that's what we do every time. Given what I want to see is them prove to me what the Arcana votes really are.
which is that I'm convinced that Arcana votes are like the votings they do are just to prove market research to them of which ones they can charge the most for. So if Faceless Void lost the last one, right? Or
Faceless
Void
Void
the winner.
won.
So Faceless Void won.
You're gonna get on the fucking win talk, aren't you?
Yes, I am. They need to let you trade your Arcanas. They need to let them be purchasable. I do not want to pay $300 for a dumb Arcana that I want. I don't want nothing else. That's all I got to say about that.
So here's the thing. I'm going to get those levels anyways. So if I also get an Arcana, I'm kind of like, whatever. Because I know I'm gonna want the treasures. I'm going to want the stupid fucking hats.
I'm still adding Gaben to let me give my Wind Arcana to somebody. I hate Wind with a passion. Wind. She can die in a hole. But I have a friend of mine who loves her to death, and I'd be happy to give it to him, and I can't. It's just sitting in my inventory. It's upsetting. But I want to see that. I want to see good Arcanas. I want to see really good Arcanas. I don't want to see any kind of crap ones. I got to be honest with you. Like Ogre Magi won that, right? He won the actual like Arcana vote when he got his Arcana.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was super lackluster.
What? He got a bird.
I didn't like it, but what I did like was that they did spend some time on it. Like, it does do some different things. Like, it does.
It shits eggs, guys.
Yes.
How is this not cool?
Because the fucking Jakiro set is the best one that they've come out with for...
Oh, you mean Ogre Magi?
No, Jakiro.
That is easily, I'll be honest with you, if they made that the Arcana and gave it a bunch of cool effects, that would be better to me than the one they made.
Yeah, that set's just so good. It's so good. I love the fucking Jakiro pajamas.
Oh, yeah. And I think, like, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like the Windrunner got a bunch of really cool stuff. I feel like the Earthshaker one got that, like, that combo reader, right? Like, I think there's something about the odds of whatever thing that the Ogre's hitting, but I really still just feel like it's not... I'm just not about it.
The Ogre is a goofy hero, though, right?
Yeah, like, you're right.
It's going to be a goofy thing. Faceless Void is going to be nuts. Like,
it's going to suck. Faceless Void is going to be shit, and I will tell you why. Because you're going to get all these dog shit fucking Faceless Void players, and people picking Faceless Void support so they can justify spending $300 on a stupid fucking Arcana. Just to chrono their own teams.
Do you remember
you are going to get chronoed. We are getting chronoed in our pubs. We should not be happy about this.
That's fine. Oh, dude, do you remember when they came out, when they first did, like, the SketchUps for the... And it was a joke at the time, but it was, like, the SketchUps for Faceless Void. And it was, like, Face Full Void, where they just made the entirety of Faceless Void a head with a face. And it was all because of the Faceless T-Rex, like, courier. I want that Arcana. I want them to just do the biggest middle finger to the entirety of the Dota 2 community and make it something just super dumb.
Oh, God.
Marauder remodel? I'm saying Marauder remodel is coming.
No way.
I'm saying Morphling remodel.
How would it be
remodeled
when they just did a Persona?
The Persona is the remodeled. You want the remodeled, you pay for it.
Like, they're going to put more Personas in. Like, Terrorblade will probably get a Persona or something.
Give me the Morphling remodel.
I will want that. That is the worst thing in Dota still is Morphling's goddamn model.
Dude, they're going to keep that for eternity.
No, please.
It's a meme now. Like, they don't care. Like,
it's got like 12 polygons.
Yeah,
Marcy's backpack had like triple the polygons of fucking Morphling.
Yeah, like I said, there's no way. They're like, if they haven't fixed it to this point, they're just never going to. That's where I'm at.
You got a point.
Like they started fixing shit like 2-3 years ago, and then still haven't touched Morphling.
Well, remember, they took a break for a while. I want old Lion. I wanted a Lion Persona that gives you back ugly Lion. I want ugly as hell Lion. That's what I want.
I want ugly Viper.
Boom.
Every fucking Viper is ugly. Ebola Viper, it's all fucking hideous.
How can you possibly say Ebola Viper is ugly, dude? I don't get you. That is the most beautiful set.
Dude, coming from a fucking brew player. Like,
you make your career off player. You can't even say that.
You make your fucking entire Dota career off of the easiest hero in the fucking game.
I make it off of saying better luck next time. That's what I make it off of.
Yeah.
Okay, but who do we think are getting Arcanas? Who do we think are getting Personas?
Personas for sure, Terrorblade, I think.
100%. I think
they're gonna take
Personas are just gonna be anime.
Yeah, they're just gonna take Personas off the anime.
I think it's gonna be Terrorblade. I think it's gonna be Lena.
Arcana based. Who finished second last year?
Sniper?
No, I doubt it'd be 2 carries.
Was it Ricky?
Or 2 cores. It's probably gonna be like a core and a support.
Well, I think they released 3 last time, right? Because they released the Wraith King, they released the Wind Ranger, and they released the Quap.
Spectre.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
the Spectre.
There's the Drow, Spectre, Wind Ranger, Quap.
Yeah. So.
All of which finished pretty high up in the standings of the vote.
Yeah,
right?
they're probably just gonna take like 3 of like the high standings ones. I forget what the vote was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, it was
we know Brew's gonna get fucking no love though.
Nope, that's fine. It was Faces, Void, and Spectre. I don't know if somebody said that.
I would love to see a Mars.
Oh, that's
Arcana,
right.
I think would be cool.
She did one. I want to see Tidehunter.
That could be neat.
I feel like
I think you could do some cool shit with Kunkka. Like there could be. I think Tidehunter could be really cool.
Kunkka Tide Faceless Void.
That could be fun.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
The one that I think would have the coolest concept that I think would be absolutely ridiculous is honestly Visage. I think Visage could be so cool with an Arcana.
They ain't gonna release an Arcana for that. It's too unpopular of a hero. Like,
yeah,
it's
even
just,
Bat Rider, I couldn't even see.
Bat Rider's not. They do like some really cool concept stuff with like the actual bat, but it's not gonna. They're not gonna waste a lot of time and resources.
Yeah, those will just be immortals.
They're gonna do like the more popular heroes and.
If it's raw popularity, I feel like Sniper is going to get one either this TI or next. I feel like he has to.
What you can do is you could have 3 Arcanas, right? And you could have the middle one be something popular, or no, the first one be something popular, the middle one be like an unpopular hero, and the last one be a really popular hero.
Well, they're not going to do unpopular because it's not going to buy. Like,
no, but people are going to have to get the middle one just to get the cool one at the end.
Yeah.
You make a really popular hero at the end, so people just by nature pass that middle one that they don't really want.
I mean, so I can, if you're looking at like the top like most popular, like some of the most popular heroes and shit, like I wouldn't be surprised based on like a what's it called? Goodness gracious, mine doesn't work anymore. Like a Dragonite Arcana, which would be weird since he has the persona now. Lena already has one. Glop already has one. Sven is the one. Sven, I can see a Sven Arcana.
You have a great one. There is something you're touching on there that I think is kind of important. Is that like some people have kind of gotten rawed on their Arcanas. Like number 1, I think is Lena. Like I think
Lena has one.
Yeah, I know, but like, I think it's dog. I think that
they're not gonna go back and remake them.
All right. I think she could get a persona though. I think she will probably get a persona.
No, they updated her persona not long ago.
Her persona? Lena's persona?
No, her Arcana. Sorry, her Arcana. It's nowhere as close to as bad as it used to be.
Really? I haven't seen that many then. That's my bad.
Got so many
it used to be
so
really
much
bad.
Shiny shit on my Lena. I can't even.
But they went back and they touched up some of the older assets.
Okay. See,
in the last spring cleaning patch.
I'll tell you what I'd also like to see is I'd like to see the return of prismatic gems. Like, is there another Arcana that's just affected by prismatic gems as terribly it is?
There should be.
There should be. Like, I want more like colors in Dota. I think that'd be dope.
Why they got rid of prismatic gems? Who the fuck knows?
Maybe like a data thing.
Well, I mean, honestly though, like
just made them money off the market. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
could they not? I mean, there's like available gem slots on Lena's Arcana.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if they sell the prismatic gems. I think they do still, but I haven't seen anyone put one on there.
No, you can only buy them on the market.
Yeah. Well, you can also. Fun fact: there are prismatic gems on the Ice Frog courier.
Oh yeah.
So
you can farm them from those couriers now. Get your Dota Plus points, boys.
Dota, yeah, it pays to get your points and save up. Apparently.
Okay.
I have the Bleak Hallucination and Mismatic Gray. So, like the blur or whatever on the Unusual Mengo the Newt.
Oh. I don't know where the fuck you get that.
It was in a. Oh man. Oh, what
Anyway,
was
we can do
it?
it after the podcast.
Yeah,
We can,
we'll figure that out. It was in one of. It was in one of the Dota Plus treasures.
Gotcha.
Actually, I think Welshie gave this one. I mean, I'm being honest. But anyways, what do we want to see in the next patch? I have a few things, but I'm curious on you guys.
I want TA to be good. Because, it's only been about 2 years that she's been pretty fucking solid. So another year of TA, please.
I'm afraid of the direction they're going to go in. I like that Dota kind of goes with the waves of changing the way the game plays. Like, and I feel like we've really committed to just snowball meta recently. I almost would like to see that change a bit, and like, I'll be honest with you, like, Pos ones become a little bit more viable as like not, Drow be played more, I guess, like things of that nature.
You know
Somebody
what that
can pick
means
Spectre
is
and not just
offlane-
lose.
Offlane's gonna get a nerf.
Yeah, I know, but I just kind of want to see like the game change a little bit. Like it's getting stale for me. The whole way the game's played is
You're
getting
about, to
stale.
get, you're about to get a huge patch. It's gonna.
There's
not be
lots
stale.
of ways you
Play
can slow
more
the
than
game
3
down.
heroes and it won't be stale.
Nah.
There's lots of ways you can slow the game down. You can make towers hit harder and be tankier.
Right.
You can always throw a shrine back in the fucking jungle.
Here's the way I see it is there's almost like a rotation, right? Like you always see the rotation. Okay, it's the Battle Fury meta, it's the Maelstrom meta, as far as farming items go, and it bounces back, and that's like one of the easier ways that they kind of switch out the heroes is just by adjusting those items. The other bit is you get your tank meta, you get your agi carry meta, you get your zoo meta, and then you have your illusion meta. And I think it's about time that it's going to be the illusion meta. You're going to start seeing PLs, you're going to start seeing Nagas, you're going to start seeing Terrorblades, you're going to start seeing like shit like that, where it's just going to be all illusion based heroes, which should really excite you, Welshie, because who fucking destroys those?
Brewmaster
Axe
X.
and Brewmaster. Which to me, Brew can still be buffed a bit, because in the late game still feels very minimal, and really in the mid game really falls off. The Axe had a really strong patch, and then was just tanked and just really shitty. Terrorblade's been getting buffs very regularly, very small buffs, so it's very close to my opinion to coming back into the meta. PL's the same way, Naga's the same way. It's like all these illusion based heroes keep seeing small buffs over and over and over and over. And the other thing too is like Phoenix. I used to be a massive Phoenix player. Phoenix is starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and is getting those small buffs over and over and over, and like it just feels like the heroes that can deal with the illusions, but especially the illusion based heroes, have been getting those small buffs over and over and over, and they're just like fucking one patch away. And it also deals with zoo meta too.
My one thing is the new heroes they've been adding to the game just do so much, and they even went back and like they made Zeus just have this stupid fucking ability called Heavenly Jump. We just have these heroes that are like so mobile now and just accomplish so much. I feel like we're back in the patch where everybody just like ran around the map so fast, like when we basically had like no movement speed cap and everything gave movement speed. I feel like to compensate, we just pick all these heroes that like just fly around the map, these Marcies, these Dawnbreakers. Again, even Zeus is doing it to a point.
Fucking Primal?
Puck. Yeah. We just have all these heroes that like just fly around the map now, that it might be the thing that breaks this cycle until they do something about that.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, who knows? Maybe we'll see a new hero.
And there's another thing that I think is just disgusting. I think that personally Zeus needs to be I think Zeus needs a change. I think that you need to not be able to slow down both movement speed, cast time, and I think attack speed with a jump.
I don't see a problem with that. I think it just needs to be nerfed.
Agreed.
Because there are certain heroes like Earth Spirit who do a lot of those things, where it's like they have the silent stun and slow. And there's a lot of heroes that you'll see coming out now that have those style of abilities. And it's just like those kind of things that you nerf. Like fucking Marcy jumping from East Jesus in the lane stage needs to be fucking nerfed. And I love Marcy, but fucking Christ, that's busted. Like you get level 2 and then the enemy can't lane. Like that needs to be nerfed.
You pick something like Viper Marcy, you just win your lane.
And then
Guaranteed.
Like I want to see a bat buff. I think that hero is just one of the more fun and one of the more staples of the pro meta.
I want to see Broodmother.
Go fuck yourself.
No, the only reason is it's really fun to watch how your whole team's like discussing on how are we gonna deal with this stupid fucking hero.
See, that's the thing I don't like being involved in. Just play the fucking hero and then like, what do you do? Like
I feel bad that there's heroes like that though, where they're literally either the most broken thing in the world or they're scarcely ever seen.
OD?
And Broodmother is one of those, right? Well, yeah, Broodmother and OD, right? Like they're either played a ton and like they're broken, or they're absolutely not touched at all. And like OD, Brood, Meepo. I want to see a bit more Meepo. I'm not gonna lie. I want to see Meepo at TI again. I want to see Meepo at TI.
I would like to see it at TI. Meepo is actually doing decent right now. I feel like one small change though, and that hero is busted as fuck.
I want to see the map be played differently. At the end of the day,
I want to see a map change.
Yep.
Honestly, dude.
Yep.
Sink the jungle down like to be -2, so going in the jungle is just too scary.
Yeah. I mean
that might be a little nuts.
That like it feels like they want to speed the game up and they're finally at like the pace they want to play because I think Valve likes these 25-minute games. I really do. I think one of the big things is they do all these events, but then they're hour-long games and all that stuff. If they go 20, 25 minutes, then they're happy with it. I would venture to say that that's the route that they're going to try to go. I think we'll see maybe more faster pace, so I wouldn't be too shocked to see maybe a little gold bounties up in the jungle a little bit. Not necessarily enough to like have a jungler, but maybe up to gold bounties and like keep the XP the same. I want like maybe up bounties in general, like across all creeps, something where you're going to get gold a little bit faster. Not necessarily like in a turbo sense, but almost along those lines. Because since they released turbo, it seems like they've almost taken aspects and used that as like an experimental state in order to make the game faster, right? Like they've decreased the like armor of I think the outer towers a little bit. They've fucked around with the bounties where I think they increased the lanes in the last major patch, but then decreased the jungle, so you have to play the lanes more often. You know what I mean?
You said the word jungler, and I got a small erection. I'm not gonna lie to you. Let's bring back junglers, please.
It would be
bring back carry Omni Knight and fucking send the patch out.
But that's the last bit that I want to like really touch on is why the fuck is Dire so strong? And here's the opinion that I've always had is pace of game is best for pace is typically best for Radiant side because you're naturally going to want to control their jungle, and you basically have Roche on the side of the map that you're like that's more advantageous for you. Obviously the Dire triangle in the safe lane is like farming patterns are much more efficient than the Radiant side, but it feels like faster paced teams are going to excel mainly on Radiant, and with this meta being faster paced, it feels like Radiant should be the better side, and it was so fucking Dire heavy in the in the major. 59.55% Dire.
Having a shrine by the Roche side is just so strong. Like you can literally play where you want to play on the enemies, like in the enemy's jungle, and then if the enemy goes to Roche,
buybacks.
You're a shrine TP away. Yeah, you're a shrine TP away. You have buybacks. You can come back to those fights. Like,
and it's just so much you can control that shrine, right? You're not overextending nearly as much to try and have that control over that TP point, which is huge.
Well, yeah, like how do you Roche and also stop the enemies from TPing into a shrine? Like unless you have Ursa, You can't have 4 heroes standing around a shrine waiting for someone to TP.
So would moving the shrines back, like, closer to Fountain, like, be something?
That might make the problem worse, actually. Because I think it gives ease of control to the dire side of that.
No, because then you have the option of just TPing to a tier 2. It's probably quicker.
Yeah, but then still the T2s are pretty far away, right? Like, you still have to walk a decent amount of distance.
Yeah, I think...
The shrine is really close to the Roche pit.
What if we just get rid of shrines, guys?
I'm down with that, too, personally.
Or outposts
I'm
or
not,
whatever the
like,
fuck.
the only thing that the shrines really, other than TP points, like, the whole point of them is, like, XP, right? So, and it's XP over time. So,
so supports, again, it speeds the game up. It's so supports can not be level 4 at 10 minutes.
Yeah. So, why not just add that to, like, if this tower is up, then you get a specific amount of XP bonus, right? Maybe it'll speed up the early parts of the game. It'll make teams more likely to play at towers and objectives because you're getting more XP per the amount of towers. And the only issue would be comeback mechanic would be nil, right?
You could do it off. You could do it off the. It's just like when you have to take an enemy tier 2, right? And then you can take their outposts. Just make taking an enemy tier 2, like, deny them that XP. So you get that XP so long as all your tier 2s are up. As soon as you lose a tier 2, you lose.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it would almost make comeback mechanic non-existent because you're losing so much XP because your towers are gone.
You could cut it in half then.
Yeah. There's a way to balance it, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely a way to balance it.
But
because again, outposts, they're just annoying.
I agree.
No, I agree.
I really
But I think that's time.
Liked them too much in general since they've been added. But I agree, it is just about time, and by just about time, I mean we are way over time.
Well past time.
So, with that being said, appreciate everyone for tuning in to A Dose of SinSanity, episode 17. That's all we got tonight. Adios.
2022, year of the junglers, boys. Let's go. Jungle coming back.
MTO. MTO. MTO.